Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is fun. This is a how I edit video with Final Cut Pro. I've been using Final Cut Pro for, I say like 9 months, and I've learned a lot of tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff, so I figured I'd share my knowledge. But first, before we say anything, there's a bunch of parts of this video. This video is going to be divided into little sections. I'm going to do that in your scrolling bar, whatever the technical term for that is. So if you don't care about one section, skip to where you do. First thing, I just want to show you my setup and what I edit on. Here is my little setup, my MacBook, and then monitor that I plug in with this converter. This is also how I get my footage. I put my SD card in here. This is for my mouse. That's really helpful. It's something I recommend. I also use this lacy. This is where I keep all my footage and my photos, and everything is on here, my music, because it makes my laptop run faster, and it is so much. I don't have enough storage for all this. It is super helpful. Which also brings me over to importing. The way I import is I get my SD card from my camera, and I use that little piece I showed you earlier, stick it in there, and then I get it to my lacy. So here's Untitled, which is my SD card, and Lacy, which is where I keep everything on it. I have it kind of sorted, makes sense in my brain. I'm gonna drag these two that we just made down to Lacy. Okay, and then it just pops up there, and usually I put it into all footage, so I keep all of the footage for all my videos. In Final Cut Pro, you create libraries up here. This one's called Untitled. This is the one that I just have on my laptop. I use this for school and other editing projects that don't take up as much storage. But for YouTube, I have a separate library kind of outside called External. It doesn't take up all that space and storage, and it allows me to keep most of my videos. I watched a video on how to do this, so I would recommend searching that up because I don't remember how I put that on my hard drive. I'll give you a sample of what a finished video looks like. Here is the video. This was the most recent video I posted, which is my beach reads video. I'm not wearing the same shirt, by the way. This one is yellow. So what we're gonna do, every time I create a video, I say File, New, Project. We're gonna title this Editing, Testing, and we're gonna drag in the video. So here's the video. It looks a lot bigger since I have it on my big screen right now, but the first thing I want to talk about is the settings that I use. Everything that's open right now is usually open. Sometimes I'll turn this off, which takes that away if I need more space from just rough cutting, which I'll explain later. But the buttons down here, I like to keep this one on, but it doesn't really matter. The one that I would say you need to keep on though is snapping. This is gonna help so much with breaking up stuff when rough cutting and when you're adding text. I export using a preset that I found on YouTube again. I don't remember what video this one was, but if you just look up what settings to export in Final Cut Pro, videos will come up. So next we're gonna focus on rough cutting, how I rough cut, what it is, all that kind of stuff. So rough cutting, a term that kind of means where you just cut out breaths or long pauses or mess ups and kind of just cut the video. It's not adding on the sound effects or the text or all the fun stuff. It's also the longest part of editing a video depending on the video. If you have a vlog that's 3 hours long in footage, it's gonna take you at least 3 if you're somehow really fast at editing, because you have to go through and watch all that footage and cut stuff out and all that stuff. It takes a bit. It does take a bit. Right here, I can see in the audio that there's a big cut. So I'm gonna cut between here and here, which I'm gonna do with the blade tool. There's a few ways you could do this. The hard way is to come up here and get the blade, but the shortcut is B. You just press B on your keyboard and it cuts. But if you click B, you can't move around. So a lot of the time, I like to click Command B so that I can just move to the next spot and clip it again, and then tap it and delete it. That's the way that I do it. It might seem more complicated to you to do that way. You might want to do it the other way. Whatever works for you, you do you, but that's how you cut out a long pause or a mess up. So now getting into the more kind of fancier stuff, we have video size. So like changing the video. This one I do a lot. It's like kind of the zoom in feature. You have to cut this video into a specific clip, like here. You're gonna click this little square in the corner. It's gonna give you all of this. It has more options for you to use. If you click the arrow, you can transform, which affects the size. You can crop, which cuts things out. So if I wanted to zoom in, I'd zoom in a little to my face. I'm gonna click done. You don't have to, it saves it anyway, but saves you some trouble. And then watch it back. Just zooms right on in. It's that simple. And keeping on changing the video, adding effects to videos. The effects are all located in this convenient little box over here, which is right here. Here's the video one. They have so many options. I'll show you the most common ones that I use. I use earthquake. You're gonna drag the effect over to your video where that little green plus will pop up. You just drop it down and boom, it's on it. You can also make it more or less earthquakey. House is falling down earthquake. Or if you just want a simple like little shake, that wasn't simple. If you want to take it off, you can always uncheck it. Or use Command Z, which undoes anything you did. That I use a ton. This took me a while to know too. If you ever forget what the commands are, or the keyboard shortcuts are, They usually have it beside it. Same with these over here. The two that I probably use the most often are A, which sets your little mouse back to normal. So for example, if you had it on the blade, just click A, it's back to normal. And the second one is Command Z, which is undo. I make mistakes all the time on this thing. Sometimes I'll click buttons and I don't know how I got there. I don't know how everything on this works and I'm so lost. I just Command Z until I get back to where I want. That is my best friend. It's Command Z, undo, bring it back. And it might seem like a lot of commands just thrown at you. I'd recommend just like writing them down somewhere or putting them on like a sticky note on your MacBook or something so you can go back to. And then eventually they just get stuck in your head. The other effects I use are underwater. I love that one. There's so many of these. Like camcorder. I use heat sometimes when something's supposed to be intense. So the last thing about the video that I want to talk about is changing the colors and the contrast and how the video looks. I'm not a pro at this. I struggle with this so bad, especially with vlogs. I don't know how to get it on. I'm still learning too. But one thing that I do for my sit down videos is I go here to this little triangle in the corner and I use these little things, make it a little cooler. In this case, probably turn it down and raise the saturation, make it a little more colorful. I don't know, just small little things. Yes, orange it up. I'm kidding. I don't go crazy with it because I don't know much about this. But I think this looks a little prettier than this. I just play around with it until I kind of like how it's going and I keep it there. That's most of what I do. Next we have text. So text is a big part of my videos. The shortcut that I have for text that is so helpful. This is one that it's probably better than undo. It's control, not command, control T, which gives you just a basic title right there on your screen. This is so helpful because if you don't do this, you have to go here, go to titles, search up basic, and drag it. Who wants to do that? Not I. I made that really dramatic, but that's what I do. Type in whatever you want. Hey guys. All this is pretty self-explanatory on the side. You can figure out font and all that stuff. My most common font is probably Helvetia. Still can't say it, and I made like 3 videos on it. You can make it bigger. I also love Cool Vecta and Times New Roman. You know, all these fonts are pretty good. It just depends on what kind of vibe I'm going for. Also, for my Hunger Games video, I downloaded the Hunger Games font, so you can download whatever font you want. They come to it. I usually just use the font. Most of them are free, but you can download the fonts. They come to here. One thing that took me embarrassingly long how to learn is face, which changes the color of your font. It's because I thought you would just go here and then adjust the color, but that took so long and it didn't even work. I was like, there's gotta be a better way, and I searched it up. And then someone in the comments was like, if you don't know how to do this, you're stupid. And I was like, okay, but that's why I'm telling you, because you're not stupid. So you can change whatever colors. The next thing is outline, which is pretty simple. You can kind of guess what that one is, but drop shadow helps a lot, especially if you can't see the text. Just all of these are pretty fun. They're pretty self-explanatory. That's how you kind of make the text. The next thing I want to talk about is text effects. This is very similar, almost the exact same as how you add them to the video. You just drag it to a different place. So say I wanted that silly little earthquake effect on my text. Just drag it there. A very trendy effect on YouTube is Bad TV. This name took me forever to remember too. It's Bad TV. That makes it kind of glitch. Yeah, I know you've seen it. That is there too. Just do the same thing. Another thing that's really popular is the typewriter effect. This one you do have to go search it up. They have a bunch of titles if you like any of these too. This is a fun, popular one people will do. But the typewriter one, search up typewriter. It does a little fancy typing effect. You can make it go quicker by going to this little T, changing the duration lower, goes faster, just whatever you want, which leads me into the next thing, sound effects. Say you wanted to add a sound effect to this little typewriter thing right here. You click on sound effects, which they have so many of them, and a lot of them are pretty fun and trendy and stuff. You're gonna type in typewriter. How crazy, that's exactly what we need. And you can just drag it straight down, or if you just want a little clip, you can drag it down. Really doesn't matter. All different ways of doing the same thing. And then cut it where you want to end. This is where the snapping tool comes in place. You see how it just snaps to the end of that thing? Boom. Without that thing, I'd be trying to find where it ends. We don't want that. Also, if you look up jingles, it has like all their kind of songs. It's good. So that is sound effects, which leads us to music. You can do this by looking at the jingles. Or I use a website called Thematic. This is not sponsored by Thematic. I just use Thematic. So what it does is it gives you a bunch of free songs you can use. You can listen to them, download them, and then once you do, you get little licenses. And as long as you put these in the little description of your video, then you're fine. You can use whatever songs you want. Anyway, that's how I do music. But jumping back real quick to sound effects, if there's one you don't have, you can always download that too and put it in. The next thing is adding in plain screens, making them all fancy, that kind of stuff. I do this a lot. So what we're gonna do is go to this little one up here. You're gonna go to generators instead of titles. And use 360 color solid. You can use any of these, just whatever you want, to be honest, but I use this one the most because it's just a plain screen. You get this color wheel that pops up every time. You click face for all of them and you can change it around, make it darker, and we can use the other effects we learned. Adding in text, Control T, typing in, going back to here, and changing the font. Boom! That took me longer to find than I'd like to admit. Dragging on back TV. Look at that! And going to sound effects and getting one of these. I like to use golf hit. Any of these hits are kind of fun effects. If you want to add it over something you've already made, for example, kind of like this, you just bring it on and then drag down the opacity so it kind of leaves it. You can kind of play with it how you like it. You just have to make sure it's on top of it because Final Cut Pro works like a pyramid. Audio is kind of a little different thing. Audio still works down here and stuff, but the videos, whatever's on top is gonna show through. And you can add a little text there, or it works just the same on the bottom. You can adjust the size of your top video and it kind of shines to the bottom. So you can make this a nice color and boom, there you have it. Okay, the last thing I want to show you in this basics video is how you drag in other photos, videos, PNGs, all that kind of stuff. In my little lacy thing, I have different sections, but this being one of them. Usually I keep the things I use the most out here. So what you're just gonna do is, this is so much easier than it seems. You can Control C, copy it, whatever. Or you can just drag it down, put it on top again, and boom. The thing about these is you have to make sure there's not a background or that there's a green background, or else it won't be in this specific shape. It'll be in whatever shape it comes in. But then you can transform it and drag it anywhere you want. You can also do this with things with green screens. If I wanted to put some little stars on my screen, drag them on. I want them right here. I'm gonna look up here, drag it there, and then it's gone. It's just the stars. I thought that'd be so confusing, but most of this is not too hard. You can even stack them on top of each other if you want. The Instagram and the stars, if they're at the exact same time. I wanted this to kind of be basic, so if you want more, let me know. Oh my gosh, my camera died again. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you want a part 2 or more of this or anything. Have a fun time editing. Peace out.